Resident Evil 4 Remake has been released 1 week ago, and since Capcom has also confirmed that the Mercenaries will make a return with this game, I think it's time to talk about it on this channel. Additionally, we also have some leaks which were gained from a data mine of the original game file from Resident Evil 4 that were released just a few days ago, and I will cover them in this video as well. On top of that, I also want to share my thoughts on just the overall situation of the Mercenaries minigame and what this release might mean for the Mercenaries community. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Hey there, my name is Sebastian and welcome to the Mercenaries TV. Today I rebranded this channel, which was formerly called the Mercenaries 3D TV, but since I want to cover Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries and potentially some other stuff down the line, I think it's a good idea to just rebrand this whole project, which was originally just, planned to cover some Mercenaries 3D content, but yeah, here we are. I think it's a good idea, and I will go with the name just the Mercenaries TV from now on. So, just 1 week from now, on April the 7th, RE4 Remake will receive its own version of the Mercenaries, and this is truly exciting news for me and I think for other people as well, because this might be the first iteration of a real mercenary mode since over a decade. Now, of course, RE Village had its own iteration of Mercenaries, but a lot of people would not accept it as a real successor to what was formerly known as the Mercenaries, because it was vastly different from what was introduced in Resident Evil 4 and then continued through 5, Mercenaries 3D, and also Resident Evil 6. I think the main reason why people disliked Village's Mercenaries mode is because it strayed way too much from the arcade formula that these older games had. I mean, the system was very simple. You would just pick a character, then you would pick a map, and then you're just good to go. I mean, you just spawn in and have action for like 10 to 15 minutes, while Village's system is way more complicated and way more time consuming. The first big change in Village, which I think strayed too much from the original concept, is that you would have a stage, and that stage would be, I think, broken up into up to 5 individual parts. And at the start of a run, and also between these different parts of a map, you would visit the Duke to buy weapons, buy ammunition, and just get ready for the next part. Now, this is something which strays really a lot from the old system, which was just fast-paced action, and I think it's a very legit reason why people dislike this system in Village. The classic Mercenaries experience was very different in contrast to that, because you would just pick a character which has a loadout bound to that character, you would pick the map that you want to play on, and that's it. You just start the game. And that leads us to Resident Evil 4, because in that game I think the Mercenaries as we know it and as people loved it was born. Now, to be fair, there is Operation Mad Jackal in Resident Evil 3, and in fact that was the first time we heard the name the Mercenaries, but since that has like very clunky controls, pre-rendered backgrounds, it's really not fair to compare it to like later iterations of it. Now, let's talk about the leaks for Resident Evil 4 Remake. And this is done by a guy called Gosetsu, and what he found in the game files regarding Mercenaries is quite interesting. He did come across this information by data mining the game files, and it seems pretty accurate, and there is another reason why I think this is actually true. So first of all, let's get into the maps. He found 4 maps in the game files, which are pretty much the same maps like in the original. The first one is the village, then there is the castle, there is the military base, and the last one, that is a new one, which is called the docks. That 4th one originally was called Waterworld, so it's quite interesting that there is a new map now. And since Waterworld was kind of out of place anyways, it wasn't really a map that was derived from any of the locations from the game. I think it makes sense that they now chose to include something which is from the game itself. So what is very interesting about these leaks is that there is some information on each and every of these maps. So what I think is where this information will be displayed is in the stage selection menu. So you get some information about the stages. And as you can see on the screen, I will read to you that for the village it states enemies will pour into the village square from all sides. Fight them off while picking up items found between and inside buildings. Yeah, that sounds pretty much like the original village map, nothing really special about it. In the original was just a very basic map as well, so that's very interesting. The second one is the castle. The cannon is a powerful weapon that can be used to great effect against zealots and catapults alike. It has a limited number of shots though, so choose your targets wisely. That's interesting, so that means that we have interactable weapons on the stages, which I think is a very cool idea, and I'm curious how that plays out. The island, it says, keep moving to avoid becoming surrounded in one of the island's many narrow areas. The fixed turret guns may help you thin out the crowd. So yeah, again, interactable things. And then the last one is the docks. Getting distracted by airborne enemies will leave you open to attacks from those on the ground. Find a good spot to keep all your surroundings in view. Like, that seems like there's a lot of verticality on this map, and I don't know how they made this map. I remember this area, of course, from the game, from the main game, but maybe they changed it up quite a lot, and that's the thing that they do with these Mercenaries maps anyways. So there will be new routes, there will be new rooms maybe, and yeah, they just changed the layout of these areas to fit a Mercenaries experience. So this seems all very promising, I think. So great to see that there are like 3 of the original maps, and yeah. Another thing that has been found in the files is this double-bladed chainsaw, and I guess everyone who played the original knows what that means. Probably that Super Salvador is back. And yeah, I mean, he was a pretty menacing enemy in the original Waterworld map. So the question is if he will be in the docks maps, but yeah, we can just speculate on that, but it certainly kind of shows that he probably will be back. Another thing that this guy has found is a flamethrower model in the files, and that's pretty interesting too, because as far as I know there is no flamethrower in the game, and maybe we can pick it up. I don't know if it's bound to a character, but I could see that this is probably something you could pick up on some of the maps. Maybe on one of the maps, maybe on all of them, I don't know, but yeah, certainly interesting as well. Also, there is a weapon list of many different weapons, including the flamethrower. There are also rocket launchers, and like, I don't know why there are different versions of it. It seems like, yeah, there's some differences, and then there are many different versions of the same weapons with just different attachments, it seems. And yeah, it's very interesting. We don't know if they are like bound to the characters, and these are all things which we can only speculate on right now. But certainly interesting find as well. And lastly, there is some information on the characters which will be in the game, and it's pretty much the original casts. We have Leon, we have Ada, we have Hank, Krauser, and Wesker, which were in the original Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries mode. And now we also have Luis, which I think is cool. I don't know why he wasn't in the original one, but yeah, now he's there, he's playable. And for Leon and for Ada, there are 2 different outfits. So yeah, that, I don't know, seems that there might be different loadouts for each and every of these characters, but that is something which we can only really speculate on. We don't know if we can change weapons between characters, but I don't think so, and you will see why I don't think so, because there is some information for these characters as well, and some very interesting information which we will look at now. So for every character there is like a small description which tells you what this character is good at, and for Leon it states he's an all-around balanced fighter. During Mayhem mode, his abilities including attack power and speed are greatly increased. So what this Mayhem mode is, I will talk about after reading all of them, but yeah, for Luis it says he has good firepower but weak close quarter abilities. During Mayhem mode, he can set dynamite, which explodes after a certain amount of time or when shot. Krauser has strong melee attacks and explosive arrows at his disposal. During Mayhem mode, he mutates and can deal close quarter attacks or thrust attacks. That's pretty much what we know from the original game as well about Krauser. He had his mutated arm that you could use. Hank not only has a high-performance submachine gun, but also a unique melee attack that can kill instantly. During Mayhem mode, he gains unlimited ammo. That seems pretty cool. Ada has a variety of weapons to deal with any situation. During Mayhem mode, her abilities including attack power and speed are greatly increased. That's the same as Leon. And Wesker can parry with his hands and even deliver melee attacks on distant enemies. During Mayhem mode, he is able to perform combo melee attacks. Yeah, like this is pretty interesting. Probably these descriptions are from the character selection menu. Yeah, but let's talk about Mayhem mode. What is that? My suspicion is that like Krauser in the original had his mutated arm that he could use from time to time, now every character has a special ability that he can use from time to time. We don't know how this Mayhem mode will be triggered. Maybe there's a way to trigger it, like not like in the original where Krauser could just like use it every once in a while. Maybe there is something you have to do in order to kind of trigger this Mayhem mode, but it at least seems like a very interesting concept, and especially all these abilities for the characters seem pretty interesting as well, I have to say. So this Mayhem mode kind of suggests that if a character is in this mode, he will basically cause mayhem, and if you read some of these abilities it makes sense, like for example Hank having unlimited ammo. That pretty much I think indicates that he doesn't have to reload his submachine gun and he can just fire and fire and fire without thinking about reloading. That's pretty interesting. And also the other ones like Ada and Leon, yeah, just being more agile and dealing more damage with melee attacks. That's all pretty cool. It sounds great. Also Wesker is interesting. Combo melee attacks, whatever that means. Also that it says for Wesker that he can deliver melee attacks on distant enemies. I don't know if that means that his dash from Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries is back, where he can basically sprint all over the map. But yeah, this is a lot to unpack basically, and we have to see what it means. But this Mayhem mode, I think, is really the confirmation that these leaks are correct, because there was a trailer released some time ago where the Mercenaries mode was like spoilered for the first time. And I just play this clip right now and just listen to what the merchant's voice says.
Well now, time to cause some mayhem.
So that pretty much confirms that these leaks are correct in my opinion, and yeah, why shouldn't they? I mean, there are data mined from the game files. It's not like there is a leaker which kind of gives information which is not known. These are things which are actually found in the game files, and I think together with this this line from the merchant for the Mercenaries trailer, I think it just makes sense that this is correct indeed. Also, if you look at this screenshot from the castle map, which was taken from the game data, it shows some differences to the in-game map basically. And like I said earlier, that is how Capcom always kind of treated these mercenary maps. And yeah, I think it just overall makes sense that there is some adjustments to the area, so it just makes more sense for Mercenaries. Also in this screenshot of the military base map, the lighting is of course different than in the original game, which kind of it's night in the main game, and this kind of looks like it's in the evening or something. And if my memory serves me correct, it also looks a little bit different. There are some details here and there which are a little bit different. So yeah, this kind of seems like a very legit leak overall, and it's interesting now. I mean, what does this mean for Mercenaries and for the community? I think this has the potential to be something great again. I mean, like I said, for 11 years we haven't had a Mercenaries mode, and it's pretty great to have a mode on the horizon, only just 1 week away from us now, and then we can check this out. And I probably will do some videos on it, and especially if it is good, if it actually is engaging and fun gameplay, because that's the most important thing, I guess, about these modes, that they have to be fun and engaging. And the scoring system is something that I want to talk about here just at the end of this video. The scoring system in a Mercenaries minigame is definitely something which can make or break the mode. And over all the years and all the different variations of Mercenaries that we have gotten, we have seen many different variants of how to acquire high scores and, get as many points as possible. Like, for example, the original Resident Evil 4, you had these combo timers, which basically were located in chests, and once you picked up one of them, you had 30 seconds to try to kill as many enemies as you can during these 30 seconds, and it would give you some huge amount of extra points if you could kill as many as you can. Now, that was one system. In Resident Evil 5, it was very much different because, you had a limited amount of enemies in Resident Evil 5, which was 150. And once you killed all these enemies, if you had time left over for each second that you had, you would get 1000 points, which was quite a big amount of points to get. So I think that was the best system out of all the Mercenaries that we have gotten over the years. And then in Reunion and Resident Evil 6, they kind of changed it up again, where they put a lot of emphasis on getting a full combo. And basically, if you would not get a 150 combo, I don't know if it breaks up because of some random stuff that is going on, which happens in Mercenaries, you could basically restart the whole run because, the score was, it was just not possible to get a high score anymore. And that I personally found is a very unfun system and nothing which, I would like to play for a long time. Another thing that was present in Mercenaries Reunion was boss stalling, which basically required you to not kill the bosses once they spawn on the map. So you basically let them run around all the time until the end, preferably as the last enemy or the last enemies, you would kill these bosses and then you would get some additional points. I found that system to be absolutely ridiculous and I never liked it because it's just, it's not fun, obviously, if you have to keep up with all the normal enemies and then you have some boss running around that you could just get rid of, but you have to let him run around just so you want to get the maximum amount of points. I think that is just bad game design and Capcom can certainly do better than that. So let's just hope that they do something nice here with Resident Evil 4. I think the potential is there. And one other thing that I want to talk about is the combat system itself. The combat system in RE4 Remake is actually very engaging, interesting, and it's very intense. Like, you have to be absolutely on your toe and your concentration levels have to be high. So, you don't, you just don't lose focus in it. And that's a good thing. So if that is the case in the main story, with a lot of these encounters, I can only imagine how that could be in the Mercenaries. So I think that's something which is also pretty great and which speaks for the possibility that this Mercenaries mode can be something great. And I really hope that it is, because, the last decade, the last game and the last Mercenaries mode came out in 2012. That was Resident Evil 6. So it's like 1 decade where we haven't got a Mercenaries mode. And I think it's about time that we get something good again, because Village, in my opinion, it just really doesn't count. It's not a good Mercenaries mode. And now this has the potential to be great. And considering how great the remake in general is, I think the possibility really is there that this mode will blow also the expectations of people. We will see. It's just pretty much 1 week to go, and I will definitely cover how this mode plays out. So yeah, I think that's the end for this video. I don't want to ramble on forever. Yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. This was some good information, and let me know in the comments if there's anyone watching this, and let me know in the comments what you think about Mercenaries in general, about the state of this game mode, and what you are hoping for in this game mode. And yeah, I think that's it. Have a good day, guys, and may the living God bless you in Jesus Christ's name, and peace until the next time.